Hey, what's going on guys? Nick from Kizaru Gaming here, back with another awesome video for you guys. Today we have a deck profile for one of my favorite decks this coming format, post Phantom Nightmare. It is going to be a Ghoti Runic deck. So the reason I wanted to share this deck profile is I just got back from an awesome trip to Michigan. I was in Detroit for the weekend, met all of the voice actors for the four main characters for Jujutsu Kaisen, got some pop figures signed. It was really cool, but I went to a bunch of local shops in the Detroit area and it really got me in the mood to do some Yu-Gi-Oh content. So I wanted to make this video for you guys and show you the deck that I'll be playing for at least a little while in the post Phantom Nightmare format. I do not want to play Snake Eyes. It's not that I don't want to, spend money on bonfires and wanteds. I really just, it's not the most appealing deck to my kind of play style. I think, of course, it is extremely well. I think it's as close to tier 0 as tier 0 can be. This, of course, is getting recorded after the 3v3 in Vegas. Also, congratulations to the winners of Vegas, Hani, Sam, Chris. But I wanted to show this profile for a couple of other decks because we all have seen Snake Eye profiles post Phantom Nightmare. This is something a little bit different, of course. So this is going to be my Ghoti Runic list. As most of you know, the Ghoti cards got a lot of support. Two insanely good cards in Phantom Nightmare, and I am going to show you what this deck can do. I'm going to make this a little bit quicker of a profile. I don't want this to be too long. I know this intro is a little longer than necessary, but I just want to talk about my weekend and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you the main profile. I'm going to kind of speed through that. It's pretty standard as far as Ghoti cards and Runic cards go. I'll briefly discuss why I play the ratios I do. I'll show you guys the extra inside. At the end of the video, I'll kind of show you the basic mainline combo to get into the level 6. Starting off with the Ghoti monsters, we play one of each of all of these cards. So you kind of don't want to draw these cards, and the honorary Ghoti, of course, Lifeless Leaf Fish. You kind of don't want to draw these cards. It gets a little tricky. So drawing one of them is never a bad thing because you can pitch it off of your Hugin, the Runic fusion that searches the field spell, which is cool because the combo wants you to put a Ghoti card in the graveyard before you go into the level 6, and I'll show you guys why. So Keef and Sykes are the two new ones, so I'm going to talk about these guys. These four have been around, for a very long time. We've had these cards since what, Power of the Elements is when we got the Ghoti cards first wave of support. But these two cards are the two newest ones. So Keef, the level 2, if you control a fish monster, you could special summon it. It also has an effect if a opponent were to special summon a monster, you could target one of those monsters and one of your banished level 6 or lower fishes, banish both this card and that opponent's monster, and summon back the fish that you target that was banished, which is really, really cool. And of course, because it is a level 2, it has the effect during the standby phase, special summon it if it was banished. And then Sykes, which is also another really, really good card. Sykes is if it is normal or special, you can add a fish monster from your deck to your hand, except itself, and then banish a fish monster from your hand or face up field. So basically what this can do is you can just search any of the level 2s that are going to be coming back, banish it, and then summon back. That's part of the main combo that you're going to be doing. The other effect is if it is banished, you could target a fish in your graveyard. You can actually banish a fish from your hand, graveyard, or face-up field to special summon this card. So this is the reason you want a fish in your graveyard before making level 6, is because if you have a fish in grave before making level 6, you can banish this card off of the level 6 and get so much more advantage on top of it. I'll go a little bit more into depth that during the combo, but just to briefly cover the other 4 Ghoti monsters and Lifeless Leaf Fish, Schiff is probably the best one. This is the only one I'd consider probably playing 2 of because this does the combo pretty well if you open it with any Runic spell, because this is the only one that can banish itself. So you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a fish monster you control, it gains 500 attack till the end of the turn, and then it has the standby effect to summon back and then synchro on your opponent's turn. Zep is, actually I'll skip Zep first, I'll go to Pacey's because this is very similar to Schiff. So you can banish this card from your, you control, so your face-up field, special summon a fish monster from your hand except for itself, and then during the standby, special summon it if it was banished, then you can quick synchro on your opponent's turn. Zep is a little bit different. So Zep is, you can banish this card from your hand, target a fish monster in your graveyard and banish it. So this gives you that banish control from your graveyard if you need it. But Zep's other two effects are, if it is banished during your opponent's turn, you can special summon it. So this is not restricted to the standby phase. The other problem with that is the other effect is not just a quick synchro on your opponent's turn, it is a synchro when this card is summoned. So what you have to basically do is going in line, you special summon this and then have to immediately synchro. You can't choose when to, so you have to decide when you want to pop that combo off. And then the last level 6 is Snopios. Big fan of this guy. He's the other level 6. During the main phase, you can quick effect. Now this is either player's turn, of course. Banish two fish from your hand or field. From your hand or graveyard. Special summon it, and then if it is banished, you can banish a fish in your graveyard to add it back to your hand. So this, of course, has a lot of utility, getting you a lot of free banishes, being able to quick effect banish, making Zep a lot better of a card, and then being able to add this back during your opponent's turn, special it during your opponent's turn, has a ton of utility, of course. And then Lifeless Leaf Fish, of course, is the honorary Ghoti monster. When it's summoned, you can send a fish from your deck to the graveyard, then you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 3 fish monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw a card. The reason that we play this card is because this is a 1-card combo. What you're going to do is normal this, then send Shift, banish, and then during the standby phase, special back Shift, go into the 6, banish, and then special back something. You have a lot of cool utilities that you could do, but this is the 1-card combo essentially that you're going to be doing. But I will kind of show you that at the end, as well as what we're going to be doing with it. So that is all of the Ghoti monsters, the fish monsters that you're playing. And then the next card you're playing is 3 Raiden Hand of the Lightsworn. So this might look a little weird. I know that a lot of lists have been teching this card. I think this card is actually insane in this version of the deck. The Runic list, this card does a lot for it. So if you don't know what Raiden is, or you haven't seen Raiden in a very long time, a little refresher is during the main phase, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then if Lightsworn monsters are sent by this effect, it gains 200. That's pretty irrelevant for what we're doing. Basically, we just want to mill 2, because every mill in this deck is a good mill. There's very, very few cards in this deck that you don't want to put in your graveyard. Any of the fish are good mills, and any of the Runic cards are good mills, so this card being able to mill 2 is fantastic, but it is a level 4 tuner, which is the main purpose of it. It is a searchable level 4 tuner, because we also play Charge of the Light Brigade, which I'll show you later in the video. So if you open Charge plus a Runic spell, you get a full combo, plus you get to mill 5, which is pretty cool. Last for utility monsters is Hop Ear Squadron. This card is actually insane. If you open this, it's really good because it turns your level 8 Askin on your opponent's turn into a Baron, which is fantastic. Also, drawing one of these in a Runic spell, you can go into the Cupid Pitch, and then if you have 2 Runic spells, which a lot of the times you do since we play a higher Runic count, you're able to search another one of these. You get to full combo, as well as search, burn, and be able to make Baron on your opponent's turn, but we'll kind of show you that in the combos. Last for the monsters is we play 6 hand traps, 3 each of Ash and Nibiru. I just think objectively these are the 2 best hand traps right now besides D-Shifter that this deck is able to take full advantage of. I think Droll is very good, but I would probably keep Droll in the side deck for the time being because there are a lot of matchups that this deck can struggle against that Droll just doesn't do a whole lot. So main decking that over these more generic hand traps isn't something I really want to do. Now, as for the power level of playing only 6 hand traps, I'm a little bit concerned with how low impact they can be sometimes. Nibiru feels amazing, of course. The problem is Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is objectively one of the best hand traps, especially one of the best printed ever. The problem with it is we are in fire format. Being able to Ash Blossom your opponent and then making Hida into Promethean Princess into Amblo Whale, it just doesn't feel all that good. So consider not playing hand traps and consider playing 6 board breakers instead. You could play things like 3 Talents, 3 Evenly Matched. I probably wouldn't play Dark Ruler, but Runic deck does take a lot of advantage to Dark Ruler because you can pitch those cards when you go first. Forbidden Droplet's another card I would consider playing. Probably not Thrust because of course all the Runic cards are quick plays, you can't search any of them off of Thrust. But there are a lot of really good going second cards that you can play for board breakers. that I would consider playing over these 6 cards, and or just consider playing over Ash Blossom. I need to test a little bit more with this deck in this format to see what I want to do. But this is a base template for the Runic Ghoti list, so please understand that this is not going to be the final list for the format. This is not the definitive best deck. This is just for you guys to get a very good template on what the deck does. So the next card is 3 Charge of the Light Brigade. If you don't know what this card does, if you don't play Edison format, you send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard at a level 4 or lower Lightsworn. So it mills for cost, and this is really just Ash bait. This is a great card to bait Ash on, because being able to search a Lightsworn, especially if this is your first play, a lot of times this is going to meet an Ash Blossom. It's also not once per turn, so not only can you activate it, mill 3, get Ashed, activate another one, mill 3 more, then search Raiden. If they don't have the Ash Blossom, of course, you just mill 6, search 2 cards out of your deck, which is fantastic. So that is all of the not Runic cards left in the deck, so I'm just going to show you all of the Runic cards real quick. I do not need to explain a single one of these cards. They are the Runic cards. Everybody knows what they do. Everybody knows this is probably the ratio most people will be seeing going forward. These are the only 2 that get a little bit of in and out play. I like Smiting Storm a lot more than I like Dispelling. Dispelling's pretty good this format, so I wanted to play both. The thing is, I actually agree with something that Joshua Schmidt had said, and I know, controversial opinion, I agree with Joshua Schmidt. He's one of the best players of all time, and he's a Runic Andy like myself, so of course take things that he say into very, very hefty consideration. He's a very incredible player. Joshua Schmidt was talking about his Bestial Runic list, and he said something to the effect of, this deck is very, very good against its good matchups. So what we want to do is we want to maximize the win rate against the good matchups that we have. Basically, he played a higher count of the Runic cards instead of playing non-engine cards, because the Runic cards facilitate the combo, they facilitate interruption, and they facilitate a lot of the win rate percentage against the better matchups that Runic has. So we wanted to play the higher Runic count. This is what I would consider like the max Runic count. You can play Golden Droplet if you really, really want the extra Runic number, but honestly, before I'd play a Golden Droplet, I'd play a second Smiting Storm or a second Dispelling over that card. I think that card is just so buns. There's just no reason to play it ever, in my opinion. But this is the Runic count, and that is the 40 card main deck that we are playing. So now onto the extra deck. We have the Synchros first, so we have the level 10 Synchros. We play 3, Baron, Chengying, and of course Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. Chengying is just a crazy card in a Runic deck. It always has been, always will be. That's a big part of the reason why this deck feels very similar to the Naturia playstyle. You make a lot of low impact synchros, you facilitate your hand with the Runic cards, you keep gaining resources, and Chengying just sits on the board like a house. This card is insane. If you don't know what it does, if a card is banished, including its own effect to protect itself, can trigger it. If a card is banished, you can banish a card from the field and from the graveyard, which is just insane. So all of the Runic cards, of course, they have the stipulation on their interruption effect, whether it be tip drawing a card, freezing curses negating a card, destruction or flashing fire destroying a card. They all banish a card, of course. This will allow you to banish 2 cards. Baron, we don't need to explain Baron. It's Baron de Fleur. This card's insane. Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. Of course, this is the boss monster of the Ghotis. This is a board wipe on your opponent's turn. This is a very, very useful card, as well as it comes back huge because it has the effect of, if it's banished during standby, special summon it, and then it gains 500 for every banished card. This card is a really, really, really good card, and that's why we play those 3 10s. As for the 8s, we play 2 Askin and 1 White Aura Whale. So these guys are for the combo. White Aura Whale is the best White Aura monster because it's the one that provides an interruption. So on summon, it destroys all attack position monsters, and then it can make 2 attacks that battle phase. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, I believe, yep, by battle or card effect, banish another water monster from your graveyard, special summon this card, and then treat it as a tuner, which is really, really cool because banishing waters in your graveyard is something this deck wants to do. And then Askin is the other of the big fishes. If this card is synchro summoned, you can target a fish you control, and then target one card your opponent controls, banish both of them, and then if it's banished, you can banish another fish from your graveyard to special summon this card. So the combo lets you loop this a couple of times. Of course, it only gets the banish on summon, but just being able to bring back a 27 body or a level 8 non-tuner is just really insane in this deck. The hero of the deck, Arianpos. Arianpos, Serpent of the Ghoti, is what you're going to be making probably every turn possible. Your first turn, this is what facilitates the combo. Getting into a level 6 is the full combo. Arianpos, if you don't know, if it's special summon, you can banish one level 6 or lower fish monster from your deck. If it's sent to the graveyard, as synchro material, you can banish one fish monster from your graveyard, banish that target. Then you can add a fish monster with a level equal or lower than the one that you banished to your hand. So on summon, this is going to banish a fish. Now, if you don't have a fish in your graveyard, you just banish one of the level 2 tuners that special summon themselves during the standby phase, and then you have access to Askin. You get a search, and then you can banish this to summon back the Askin. You have a lot of cool plays, but if you do have a fish in your graveyard before you make this card and then activate its effect, you can banish Sykes from your deck, which is the new level 6, allowing you to banish the fish from your graveyard, summon back the Sykes, Sykes getting an extra interruption, which is awesome. Or more resources, I should say. And then one Cupid Pitch. Cupid Pitch is for the Hopier Squadron. For the Runic cards, you play double Hugin, double Gary. I have another Gary somewhere, I just have yet to find it. Double Hugin, double Gary. This just searches Fountain, and it's a level 2. This is a level 4 and adds back Fountain. The levels just work really, really well with the Runic cards. And then one Typhon, one Little Knight. These are just the two best generic extra deck cards in the game right now. I don't think that if your deck can't play them, you shouldn't play them. These cards are just insane. This extra deck feels really, really good. I probably wouldn't change it for the time being, but we'll see how the format progresses. As for the side deck, now this is extremely unrefined. This was pretty thrown together for the side deck, so please take this with the highest grain of salt that you possibly can. I'm just going to go through it quick. We have triple Phantasme, triple Soul Release. I have 2 coming in the mail currently. Triple Droll, triple Evenly, and the back row Hate. So it has a pretty good back row matchup, so these are very, very subject to change. My locals has a lot of Snake Eye, so I wanted to make sure that I have cards that deal with Snake Eye, of course. So I think these 9 cards are very, very good at interrupting the Snake Eye combo. Soul Release, of course, is insane, as most people, I'm sure you've seen videos talking about, oh, we have this super old card. I believe it was MRD, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, MRD, Metal Raiders, Soul Release. The super old cards coming back into relevancy. You've seen the videos already. Phantasme is really good into any of the Link decks, mostly the Snake Eye deck. Of course, they do summon a bunch of Link monsters, and you're able to draw cards and get more resources. Droll is Droll. It hits every deck that Droll loses to. The problem with Droll this format is people are used to Droll stopping a turn completely. The problem is, like, oh, against Manadium or Cyberstex, or really any deck that Droll just absolutely cooked, Dragon Link. Droll just cuts the combo completely from underneath their legs. It really doesn't do that to Snake Eye. It's very good against Snake Eye, and it definitely hits the consistency and the end board, but they can play through it pretty well. That's why Droll might feel underwhelming at times, because it doesn't end the turn when you play it against Snake Eye like Droll does against a lot of the other decks that Droll's really good against. And then these 6, of course, are subject to change. Evenly Matched, I think, is just a generically good board breaker. Back row matchups, my locals does have some back row decks, some monkey decks flying around. Feather Duster and Lightning Storm. These will probably turn into Cosmic Cyclones in the near future. I think Cosmic is just really, really good right now. Hitting Fire King Island is insane, so it's probably going to be Evenly Matched gets cut into Cosmic Cyclone, but again, the side deck is completely up to your conjecture on what you feel like you want to play. So that is going to be it for the deck profile itself. I just want to show you a quick combo basically on what the deck can do, what the deck is aiming to do. So we'll pick Dispelling and we'll pick Raiden, and then I'm going to have these on top. So this is how I will show you the combo. So of course, during your draw phase, you're going to be activating Runic dispelling any Runic spell. This is of course going first. Activate any Runic spell to summon Hugin. Hugin's going to discard to search Fountain. We're not going to do that because you know what Hugin does. I'm showing you the main combo that this deck is aiming to do. So you'll be discarding a card. If you have a fish in your hand, that's even better. If you don't, then you're going to normal summon Raiden. Now you can either charge of the Light Brigade, mill 3, search this, or you can just normal this, whatever one you open. You're basically just trying to get to your level 6. Raiden is going to mill 2 on summon, so of course we put fish to the top, but it could be Runic spells, it could be fish, it could be anything that's really good. There's really very few bad mills in this deck. It really is just the other Light Sworn cards and the hand traps. Everything else is a great mill. And then you're going to synchro these, and this is where you make the level 6. So you're going to make Arion Post. This is the combo, baby. So Arion Post's effect on summon will banish a fish from the deck. So we will banish Sykes. Sykes will then trigger. Sykes allows you to banish a fish from your graveyard, so we'll banish the Paces here. Any fish in your graveyard, doesn't matter, to summon it back. And then Sykes' effect will trigger here. Now, you have your choice of which you would like to grab. If you banished one of the tuners that special summon itself back, you can add Keef and then banish Keef. If you don't have one of the tuners that special summon itself back, that's the one you're going to be grabbing. So since we banished Paces off of this little combo that we're showing you, we're going to be adding Keef and then banishing Keef. I'm not going to banish the Shift and Graveyard. This is just to show you what happens if you happen to mill one of the tuners that special summon. So I'm not going to worry about going full combo on it because we basically set this up ourselves. And then during the standby phase, these two are going to make their return. So what we have now is we have Paces, which is going to allow us to quick synchro on our opponent's turn. Now we can either use the Sykes, we can use the Arion Post. We have a lot of options. So for this combo, we're just going to use the Arion Post first, and then we're going to go into our extra deck. We're going to summon Askin. Askin is going to be Chainlink 1, and then Arion Post is going to be Chainlink 2. What this is going to allow us to do is to banish Paces, and then this is going to search our deck for a Zep. Now, what you can do is if you use this first and then do a synchro with Arion Post later in the combo, you can search for Snopios, which is, really good. And then Askin is going to resolve. This is going to target itself and another opponent's card, banish both of them. Now that Askin is banished, Askin will trigger here. You can banish a fish from your graveyard to special summon it. Now what we have is we have Keef's ability to be able to special back a banished fish. So what we've now done is banish a card. Keef ability will banish another card, and you can bring back another banished fish. Now, if you have one of the other tuners, you can bring that back to synchro with Pisces. You can do a whole lot of cool things with it. But Keef is going to banish itself, bring back Arion Pose. So that is like the main combo. Obviously, off of just the level 6, we have a lot of power here. Big bodies, 2 interruptions, as well as the other cards in your hand. So that is going to do it for my Ghoti Runic list and a little bit of a combo guide for you. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know down below. I'm a really big fan of this deck, and I really want to improve it moving forward. So I really like to get a better understanding of the deck. If there's any suggestions anyone has, please let me know, or anything. Of course, as always, please like and subscribe. Comment down below what kind of content you guys want to see next. I know I haven't posted in a little while. I had started a new job, so I've been a bit busy in terms of work. Haven't been able to make it to locals as often as I would like to, but I did go to the Philadelphia Regional, had a blast there with my friends, had a very good time. I played tier, didn't do so hot, so I decided not to make any videos on it. Shout outs, of course, to Team Takeover, my team that I am on. Shout outs to all the homies from Philly, all the friends that I play Yu-Gi-Oh with, and everyone at my locals in Pennsylvania. Other than that, guys, have yourselves a wonderful day and stay blessed.